Hey everybody, welcome to the SkyLounge, and this is Piggyskin Picks, where I pick the winners and losers of the upcoming NFL week. If you haven't, seen any of this shit, see the one from last week, how fucking wrong I was on that shit. So, let's get started. Oh god, my throat is all fucked up. But hey, Thursday Night Football begins tonight. Tennessee Titans will host the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars. I think the Tennessee Titans can win this game very easily. I think the blip of the win the Jacksonville performed last week, 6-0 against Indianapolis, really, dude, you couldn't fucking have Kessler do anything on the fucking field. No, I don't trust Jacksonville enough to do anything against a real decent, solid team. I think Tennessee goes underlooked because maybe their record, maybe some of their not so great performances, but I think Tennessee can muster up a win, especially at home. And you got Marcus Mariota. You should be fine compared to Cody Kessler. Jesus fucking Christ. Now, let's move on to the Sunday games. New York Jets versus the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, the butt fumble is back in full force. The Jets have... They're going back to the tank again, I think. Unless Sam Darnold's playing. I don't know. But Buffalo is still probably arguably the third or fourth worst team in the NFL, but they have some semblance of competitiveness, which is why I don't know what the fuck. Like, you're fucking up your draft, but sure. Buffalo's probably going to win that one. I'll give it to them. Now, the Carolina Panthers versus the Cleveland Browns. God damn it. I'm doing this again. I'm picking the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, I'm doubling down on crazy. Okay? Because Carolina has really suffered a couple of horrendous losses. Back to back to back. I believe 3 or 4 losses straight now. But in their losses, and who they lost against, it's been progressively worse. They lost to Packers? Was it the Packers or somebody? And then the Seahawks, and then just last week, they lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Good God. And Cam looked so shook just throwing their interceptions. I don't know. And the Browns have a really solid defense. And Baker Mayfield, I think he'll learn from his mistakes last week. And, I mean, he showed in the second half. He was phenomenal. So I think Baker Mayfield will lead the Cleveland Browns to a victory against the Carolina Panthers. You got this, boys. All right. The Atlanta Falcons versus the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers ousted Mike McCarthy. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. But, hey, this is a new era. You might have Aaron Rodgers smiling for once. So we'll see what kind of result Aaron Rodgers can muster out against the Atlanta Falcons, who, again, their season's a disaster. Just Control-Alt-Delete the season. Just move on to the next one. And, Matt Ryan? All right, cool. Have fun with that shit. Indianapolis Colts versus the Houston Texans. I'm going to go with the upset here and pick the Indianapolis Colts. Yes, their defense may not be as superb as all the others, but I'll tell you what, man. Andrew Luck can probably dissect that Houston defense. And I know he doesn't have the right pieces, but it might just be a shootout this game. And Indianapolis might just come out with the field goal win. I'm just saying. I have a feeling about that. And yes, I'm not discrediting Houston at all because Houston has been phenomenal. Deshaun Watson, all the guys in the receiving core and running back also included, defensive ends, and all the fucking pieces, man. Deshaun Watson and the boys look great. So we'll see how that game goes, but I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts. Okay, the Baltimore Ravens versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I will go ahead and select the Kansas City Chiefs in a very close game because Kansas City's defense, that defense can give up points. When you concede about 33 points to the Oakland Raiders, that's a bit of a problem. And to the Baltimore Ravens, yeah, you got Lamar Jackson, but how much fucking longer are you going to get the kid running? He might get injured, all right? Stop that shit. So Kansas City might come out with a nice 3-point or more win, probably. Now, the New England Patriots versus the Miami Dolphins. Against all the odds, I will pick the New England Patriots despite how much of a poor record they have in Miami. I was watching the show Lock It In on FS1, and they were saying how the New England Patriots are like 1-5 in their last 6 visits to Miami, which is insane. But I don't know. I'm going to go against all odds, pick New England, because Miami is a fucking mess. Like, that team, I don't care what the result is. They barely won against Buffalo last week. I don't trust that team. I don't trust Miami to pull any sort of miracles there. And let's move on to the next game. The New Orleans Saints versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to pick New Orleans. Yes, Tampa Bay beat Carolina last week. Yes, New Orleans had a terrible outing against the Dallas Cowboys, which was also due in part by the poor officiating. However, I think status quo will come back this week. Drew Brees is going to throw metric tons of touchdowns and yards and just cream pie that defense, who is, in Tampa Bay, the worst defense in the league. Probably have to look that up, but it probably is. So now, guys, let's move on to the New York Giants versus the Washington Redskins. I'm going to go with the New York Giants. You have Mark Sanchez as your quarterback now, kids. Washington, strap in, because you are riding the tank now. You are absolutely riding the tank. And I have a feeling Eli Manning will have probably 2 touchdowns and 1 interception and probably a forced fumble created by a Redskins defensive end. It's just going to happen. And maybe Odell's going to throw a fucking touchdown again. Who the hell knows? He always seems to do so. Probably 40-yard plus. And, guys, the Cincinnati Bengals will go to L.A. against the L.A. Chargers. And the L.A. Chargers will get a comfortable win against the Cincinnati Bengals. I would say probably 14 points or more. The Bengals are an absolute mess. Hugh Jackson is a cancer that has spread all over the Cincinnati Bengals and have killed them and bereft them of life this season. So, good on you. As for the Chargers, their playoff hopes are solid. They look fantastic. They've beaten the Steelers after being down 23-3, if I'm not mistaken, 23-7, some crazy number like that. Erasing deficits and coming out with a win. Fantastic on the Chargers. They just got to get their kicking shit figured out. All right? Get a kicker. All right? Pay money for a kicker, for God's sakes. All right? And you might actually win a fucking, I don't know, a championship. Who the fuck knows? Now, let's move on to the Denver Broncos versus San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco. Denver Broncos. Yeah, we, as the Seattle Seahawks, cream pied the San Francisco 49ers. For the 49ers are limping back home, and the Denver Broncos are feeling good. They got momentum on their sides. They're feeling good. And Case Keenum versus, really, Nick Mullins. As overpaid as Case Keenum is, I take Case Keenum to win the game. And defensively, San Francisco isn't going to stop shit, despite Emmanuel Sanders being injured. And the Denver defense is going to ravage Nick Mullins. They're going to fucking pick him apart, and it'll be hilarious to watch. And now, the Detroit Lions versus the Arizona Cardinals. Really, it's going to be the Lions. The Cardinals are abjectly terrible. Yeah, they have 1 or 2 good pieces on the defensive side, but man, that team overall, not that great. Detroit Lions may have a narrative set on them by Matt Stafford, who will always throw the ball away in the fourth quarter, no matter what the fuck happens. But I think the Detroit Lions will give themselves enough cushion to win this game, probably by 6 points. That's what I'm thinking on there. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Dallas Cowboys. Another upset. I'm going to pick the Philadelphia Eagles. There's something about the Dallas Cowboys. When they're going on these win streaks, there's a bit of arrogance from top, management, top down to the players. And something about this game tells me the Dallas Cowboys are going to play very arrogantly, very cocky, and the Philadelphia Eagles can really jump one on them. The Eagles won Monday Night Football, yes. They're coming off of a short week, but I feel like the less prepared the Eagles are, I feel like are a team that works great under stress. They work great under stress. When they're under stress, they will beat everybody. But when they're not, when they're a little bit lax, when no one's really giving them too much attention, they tend to kind of falter. So I think this is a game of just a field goal. This is a field goal game. And don't be surprised if the scoreline is like, 30-33, and Jake Elliott gets the fucking winning touchdown or winning field goal. Jesus Christ. The Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Oakland Raiders. Good God. I'm picking the Pittsburgh Steelers, but you fuckers better hope you guys actually win. If you lose to the Oakland Raiders, good God, how laughable would this be? But I think the narrative of this game is going to be a pissed off Steelers team. They're going to be all fucking hot and bothered. They're going to go into Oakland and probably lay a 20-point plus beating on the Oakland Raiders. More than likely. The Oakland Raiders are just tanking hard. They are tanking beautifully to that number 1 draft pick. Now, the LA Rams versus Chicago Bears in Soldier Field in Chicago. I'm going with the Chicago Bears. Mitchell Trubisky might not be playing. You might still be stuck with that fucking backup. But there are glaring flaws in that Rams defense. Yeah, I know Aqib Talib just came back, but there's still glaring parts that Matt Nagy, I believe, can figure out, will be able to dissect. Because that loss against the New York Giants in overtime last week, boys and girls, for the Bears, they came back from a deficit. And I believe late in the fourth quarter, the Bears will figure some shit out and pick Jared Goff apart. System quarterback, not that great, but this is key. Khalil Mack has to lead the way to stop Todd Gurley. Jesus Christ. Do it. Please, Bears. Do it for you and do it for everybody else in the league. Finally, Monday Night Football. The Minnesota Vikings versus the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks are going to win this fucking game. Let me tell you why. Kirk Cousins. Russell Wilson. Beep. Done. If I wanted to stop the argument right there, I could. But I could list other reasons as to why the Vikings will lose. Namely, their defense doesn't look that great. Their defense was picked apart by the New England Patriots, and I get it, it's Belichick, but you understand what Pete Carroll does, right? The guy will wear you out on the offensive side, and defensively, our boys are going to fucking tear you apart. Bobby Wagner is firing up. He just had a 98-yard interception return last week, buddy. And Russell Wilson, forget about it. I think Russell Wilson is going to lay a nice, meaty 14-point lead. Probably early on in, probably by the third quarter, I think. And I'd say the Seahawks grab a win late in the game, by holding on to that set 14-point lead, but probably conceding a few points. I'm going to go ahead and say, 30-21. I'm going to say 30-21 win. Seattle Seahawks. So let me know what you guys think. Follow me at the SC.Y on all the links in the description below. Like, comment, subscribe for more daily contents. Now fuck off.